In this demo, I'll show you how to create a Cloud SQL database for MySQL using the gcloud command line interface. So here I am in the Cloud SQL service in the console. Now this database here I created earlier using the console, right? So to do that, you click Create Instance and then pick your database type and then fill in the form and hit the Create button. But a lot of times you want to be able to create a database programmatically as a part of your setup. So we can do that with gcloud as well. So if I click on the Activate Google Cloud Shell button, I can start typing that command in. So now the basic command to create a database is gcloud SQL instances create, and then you have to give your database a name, and then there's a whole slew of parameters that you can pass as well. Now, there are many parameters, and if I wanted to take a look at what they were, I can just put the -- help parameter at the end of that command and click enter, and that'll take me into the help page. So again, this is the basic command, gcloud SQL instances create, and then the name of your instance. And then as you can see, there are many different parameters that are available. And if we kind of read down through the documentation there, it'll give you like a description of each parameter. And if we go all the way to the bottom, it'll give us some example commands for creating different databases. So that I think is pretty helpful. So right there under examples, it's saying, okay, here's an example of creating a MySQL version 5.7 database. And notice, so we're setting the database version here. And then the tier, that's the machine size that you want to create, and then the region, and then the password right here. Or if you scroll down a little bit more, here's an example of creating a PostgreSQL database and how it could be used. And if you scroll down a little bit more, here's an example of creating a SQL Server database using the same command. Anyway, so that's one way of looking at the help. Now, maybe in a somewhat more readable format, you can go into the documentation on the web. So notice here I'm under Cloud SQL. So I'm in the docs, right? So cloud.google.com/SQL/docs. And then I'm looking at the MySQL docs and the instance settings parameter here. And if you notice, if we scroll down through that page, it gives me more documentation on all the different parameters that you can set. So, and then I guess another useful way of understanding the parameters is to use the console as sort of a help for you. So when you click Create Instance and then choose your database, it'll walk you through all the different parameters that you can set when you're configuring a MySQL database. And also notice under Instance Settings, you can look at the parameters for MySQL or PostgreSQL if that is what you prefer, or SQL Server, and so on. But anyway, let's just enter the most basic command that we can. So we'll just say gcloud SQL instances create, and we'll call this Doug's DB server. And then I'll set the zone parameter, so I'll set that equal to US-east4-A, and then we'll set the root password parameter as well. So root password equals, and then some super secret password, like super secret password or whatever. But anyway, that would be the basic command. Notice with most of the defaults. So we would get the default database, which is MySQL, and we would get the default instance size and the default settings for backups and so on and so forth. But anyway, just like when we create the database from the console, it'll take a few minutes for that database to be ready. But anyway, notice here it's starting up. Anyway, in this demo, we took a look at how to create a Cloud SQL database using the G Cloud CLI. This is Doug Renstrom with ROI Training.